let's talk about one of the most successful failures in all of history. We're diving into the story of Zhang Qian, a diplomat sent on a do-or-die mission for China's Han Dynasty. And by every official measure, his mission was a spectacular, unmitigated disaster.
And that's the incredible paradox, isn't it? How does an assignment that went so completely and totally wrong end up forging connections that would reshape civilizations and literally change the map of the known world?
Okay, so to get this, we have to go back to the 2nd century BCE. One of China's greatest dynasties, the Han, is facing this massive existential threat that just won't go away.
You've basically got this huge clash of cultures. On one side, you have the Han Empire, a settled agricultural powerhouse that built massive cities and really just wanted some peace and stability. And on the other, you have the Xiongnu. They're this confederation of fierce nomadic warriors, absolute masters of horseback, sweeping down from the northern plains to raid Han lands for anything they could carry. It was a constant, terrifying problem.
So the Han Emperor, Emperor Wu, he comes up with this bold, maybe even crazy plan. He'd heard rumors of another nomadic group, the Yuzha. Now the Xiongnu had absolutely crushed the Yuzha years before and driven them from their homeland. So the emperor's thinking was pretty simple. The enemy of my enemy, well, he's got to be my friend.
So the mission is laid out, but it sounds almost impossible. Find this displaced tribe somewhere out in the vast unknown West, and then convince them to join you in a war against the most feared warriors on the plains. And the guy they picked for this incredible gamble? A mid-level palace official named Zhang Qian. Zhang Qian sets out with a caravan of about 100 men heading into lands that were to the Han a complete blank spot on the map. Their big idea was to sneak around Xiongnu territory. Spoilers, that plan did not work out.
And I mean, it went wrong fast. To get to the west, he had to cut through a stretch of land controlled by the exact people he was trying to avoid. Almost as soon as he started, Zhang Qian and his entire team were captured by the Xiongnu.
For 10 years, a full decade, he was their prisoner. The Xiongnu even tried to get him to switch sides, giving him a wife, and he started a family. But through all that time, living this entirely new life, he never, ever forgot why he was there. He held on to his imperial credentials the whole time, a constant reminder of his duty to the emperor.
The sheer scale of this journey is just mind-boggling. Look at this. He leaves in 138 BC, gets captured almost right away. An entire decade goes by before he finally escapes. He then keeps going, finds the tribe he was looking for, gets captured again on the way home, escapes again, and finally stumbles back to China in 125 BC.
13 years. Just let that sink in. Of the 100 men who left with him, only 2 made it back. Zhang Qian and 1 loyal aide. 13 years of his life, all for a mission that, as we're about to see, was technically a failure.
So after escaping that first 10-year imprisonment, Zhang Qian actually did it. He found the Yuzhi. He traveled through these amazing kingdoms in Central Asia that the Han had never even heard of. But his main goal? Yeah, that was about to fall apart.
Turns out the Yuzhi were doing just fine. They had found new, fertile lands to settle in, and they had absolutely no interest in picking another fight with their old enemies. They politely told him, thanks, but no thanks. So there it is. The primary objective of this whole 13-year nightmare was a complete bust.
And this right here is where the story completely flips. Because while he failed to get an alliance, Zhang Qian had stumbled upon advanced, wealthy civilizations in places like the Fergana Valley. He saw vibrant cities, incredible trade, and something that would absolutely electrify the emperor back home.
He came back with incredible stories, but the one that mattered most was about magnificent horses. They were bigger, stronger, and faster than any horse in China. They called them the heavenly horses, sometimes the blood-sweating horses. And they were about to become the empire's new obsession.
See, this was the game changer the Han military had been dreaming of. The Xiongnu cavalry dominated them with their tough little steppe ponies, but these horses from the west, these were proper war horses. That whole blood-sweating thing was probably just a skin parasite, but it made them sound mythical. For Emperor Wu, these horses were the key, the super weapon he needed to finally take the fight to the Xiongnu.
So, when Zhang Qian finally made it home, he didn't have a treaty in his hand, but he brought back something way more valuable: knowledge. He was a walking, talking map of a world the Chinese never knew existed.
And we can't just gloss over this. Even getting that knowledge back was an epic adventure.
On the way home, he got captured by the Xiongnu for a second time, was held for a year, and only escaped when their leader died and things got chaotic. The man's persistence is just off the charts.
Zhang Qian's report to the emperor was an absolute bombshell. He described all these new cultures, new products, and most importantly, the routes to get to them. He even introduced things like grapes and alfalfa, perfect for feeding those new war horses. This lit a fire under Emperor Wu, who immediately started sending more expeditions west. Zhang Qian hadn't found an ally. He'd opened a door, and through that door came the Silk Road.
So when you just lay it all out, the contrast is incredible. The mission was to create a temporary military pact. The outcome was a permanent economic and cultural superhighway that would connect east and west for more than 1,000 years. His specific task was a failure, but his journey was one of the greatest successes in history.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Zhang Qian's story is this amazing reminder that progress isn't always linear. Sometimes the greatest discoveries aren't the ones you set out to find. Sometimes it's the detours, the mistakes, and the epic failures that end up changing the world.